Hi everyone. Oh, hold on. Realized I forgot. Hold on. Forgot my microphone here. There we go. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better, or you can hear me better. There we go. Sorry. There we go. All right. Yay. We're getting there. Oh, as you can see, we're getting some things up in the office/studio. We'll talk about those another day. So how is your day? What are you drinking today? Me, I am drinking my version of London Fog. So, what is that? A London Fog is typically Earl Grey, but I'm using it's called a British Brunch that Stephen Smith, yes, you guessed it, that they've done. It's my first time trying the British Brunch. Well, not my first British Brunch, but first time trying it this go around when I bought the package. But I like to do steamed milk, organic vanilla, organic stevia, and I mix it. So it's my version of Earl Grey. I've actually grown more accustomed to it. So what I actually get, or my version of Earl Grey, my version of a London Fog, oh my goodness. Earl Grey is typically used with it. But my version of a London Fog, I've got so accustomed to it. So when I do get it at a shop somewhere else, a coffee shop, it doesn't quite taste the same, but I'm also from the South. I like my tea Southern sweet. As we always say, we like some tea to go with our sugar. So I feel like I can sweeten it to where I like it, as opposed to having that done at a coffee shop. Other than I did work with this girl, so a manager of mine years ago had introduced me to the London Fog, and where I worked at, it was a bookstore that had a little cafe in it, and so there was one girl that worked in the cafe. Oh my God, she made the best London Fog for me because she, like me, understood the Southern sweet, and so yes, it was the best ever. But yes, that's how I got addicted to them, and so I have those every morning with tea time. So yes. So anyways, this morning today we're going to talk about if someone you care about gets diagnosed with cancer, what do you do? So I've found throughout my years and even through experience, a lot of people, they don't know how to take it. They don't know what to do. So a lot of people end up freezing up and not being a part of your life, not really wanting to talk to you because they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do, they can't handle it. And at first, when that happened to us, like, it bothered me, but then I learned that sometimes people just don't know what to do. And then sometimes they can't handle it. And not in a, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a way, sometimes with the experience that they've had in their life, may cause them to not be able to be there, and because it causes feelings, or I don't know, some trauma, or brings some PTSD to them. And sometimes you just have to be understanding that, okay, like they can't do that. So, but at the same time, we're going to talk about how those people, if you're one of those people, like how you can still somewhat be supportive at a distance, and still somewhat make a difference to that person, but also not affect you as well. We're also going to talk about a coworker, a friend, family member. So we'll talk about all that today. So let's get started. All right. So let's say you have a coworker. You found out your coworker was diagnosed with cancer. So depending on a lot of these things are going to depend on your relationship with this particular person, and then also what kind of person you are too. Coworkers, I will say, when my mom, when she was first diagnosed, her coworkers were amazing. Her boss was amazing. Interesting enough, her boss's boss, his wife was also diagnosed with lung cancer as well. So he understood that. So when he found out my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer, it was whatever my mom needed, she got. He even set it up where she could work from home. And guys, this was back in 2006. So this is before remote work was even really a thing. So, some companies did it, but it wasn't something you really heard of too much or was mentioned that much. But he set her up so she could work from home if she needed to. And if she felt like going into the office, she could. And that was like the best thing ever for my mom. He told her not to worry about anything with her job. Not only was like her boss's boss was supportive, but her boss or her manager was also very supportive. As my mom always said, she's one of the best managers she ever had, and she was amazing. Her coworkers, her team, they got together and I don't know if they did a sign-up sheet or what they did, but every weekend, a different member of my mom's team, I think it was on a Sunday, it was either a Saturday or Sunday, they would bring us food. Whether they went by KFC and brought us a bucket of chicken. Oh, hold on, my co-host is at the door. Hey, come on, silly. You're late. You are late. Come here, but that's all right. Better late than never. It's so funny. I ask him if he wants to come, and I let him know, and then I think he just likes to make a grand entrance. What do you think? Huh? So whether they either cooked or went and brought like a bucket of chicken from KFC and some sides or whatever, like they would bring something to eat, and that little act was so helpful because my dad and I could focus on my mom and not worry about having to get something to eat. She didn't have to worry about us eating or anything. Like they brought, that was taken care of, and it was so helpful. So even something as simple as that. Also, too, another thing, like just sometimes being there for them in the office. Like if they go to work, so just because somebody has cancer doesn't mean all of a sudden they're going to be at home sick or anything like that. Like you could probably have somebody at work right now that may have cancer and you don't know. Because it's just different between treatments. Everybody responds differently. Their cancer may be not quite as taxing, and they're still able to physically do things. So, if that's the case, what can you do? Take them to lunch if you like, or if you're going to go out to lunch, pick something up. It's like, hey, I'm picking up something from so and so down the street. What can I get you? Don't even ask if you can. Don't give them a yes or no question. Give them, what can I get you? Because let me tell you, most people who are going through cancer, they're not going to ask for help because they already feel like they're a burden on their family. They're not going to be a burden on other people. So you're going to have to just kind of insert yourself. So, not in a harsh way, but just, hey, so I'm going to the sandwich shop down the street. What can I get you? What can I bring back for you? And they're like, oh, no, don't worry about it. I just, what do you want? What would you eat? What would you like to eat from there? And just bring that back. So those little acts of kindness helps more than anybody would know, because that's one less thing they have to think about or worry about. Also, too, just even if you just bring them like, even if you just leave them a little note. If there's somebody that you don't know that well, but you found out they have cancer, um, go buy a little card and say, thinking of you, or something nice that, uplifting, like everything's going to be okay, or just something inspirational. Or even too, if you have, even if you're not sure if they're a religious person or spiritual person, there are inspirational quotes, Bible verses, everything that they don't they don't push religion on you. So they are just that, they are inspirational. So write something on a card or a little note sheet and stick it on their computer, or stick it on their desk when they're not there, or a little thing like that, and just something like that, just to let them know that somebody's thinking of them, or giving them a little bit of hope or inspiration, goes a long way. Trust me. So those are things that you can do. So friends, if you have a friend that was diagnosed with cancer, and depending on how close you are, there's a lot of things that you can do. Oh, wait a minute, I got another story. Forgot about this. So with the coworker, my mom, when I'm talking about little things you can do. So when my mom, she worked at a bank, she also worked, not like a teller bank, but like a corporate office bank downtown, where you have those floors, cubicles, and everything. And she would go in to the bathroom in the mornings, and sometimes there would be a lady in there, and she could hear that the lady was sick. And so my mom kind of figured that she had cancer. And so my mom just kind of reached out to her, through the stall, was like, hey, like, is there someone I can grab for you? Because we all know with work, we always have that at least one work colleague, right, that you're really good friends with, or that you hang out with, your buddy with, right? And so she would ask, and so the lady told her, so my mom would go find this lady and bring her to the bathroom to this lady. Years later, after that, or after the year later or whatever, this lady came up to my mom and thanked her for that, and called my mom her angel, because they were both kind of in the bathroom at the same time every morning, and with my mom's morning routine, and called my mom her angel, her guardian angel, because my mom would always be there, or happen to be there when she was sick, and she would go get her friend for her. So those little small acts of kindness goes a long way and means a lot. So yes, now on to friends. So again, depending on what kind of friendship you have, bringing food to the family. We had a neighbor. We lived in a cul-de-sac. We lived in the house. She lived 2 houses down. Every Monday, this neighbor cooked food and brought food to us. She cooked food for me, my mom, and my dad. Let me tell you, again, helpful. That was the last thing that we had to worry about, because, sometimes my mom, especially if it was the time that she was going through her chemotherapy, my mom didn't feel up to cooking, and then I was taking care of my mom. My dad was working. And so our main focus was our mom. So, yes, I would cook some, but that wasn't also my concern. My concern was my mom. Now, if my mom wanted me to cook something for her, I would. But, I didn't. Me and my dad were just kind of fending for ourselves. And so we had a neighbor, like, we looked forward to her food. Every Monday she would bring it by, and we were just like, that was like the best thing ever. So between her coworkers bringing food on the weekend, and and our neighbor bringing food on Mondays, like, it was the best. Yeah, it was the best thing ever. All right. So what else can you do as a friend? If your friend who is diagnosed with cancer has kids, if you have this kind of relationship with your friend, take her kids. take them out for a day, for a couple of hours, whether it's taking them out somewhere, taking them to your house to do something, or even if, depending on how, the mom, dad, or depending on how they're feeling, like just, take them upstairs to their playroom or room and play with them, entertain them for a few hours, that, and take that stress off of the parents. Trust me, it helps. My husband had a couple of colleagues, their husbands were diagnosed with cancer. And yes, interesting enough, both of them around the same time. And one of them have kids. And I was talking to a mutual friend, and she was like, I just don't know what to do for her. She does, the husband was diagnosed, the wife was a colleague, and the friend was like, I just don't know what to do for her, and I was like, well, why don't you just babysit the kids? Like, just take them for a couple of hours, just, let her and her husband have, if they want to go off and do something, they can. If they want to just sit at home and just enjoy the peace, like they can, because they were two young sons at the time, young boys. And funny enough, my husband comes home to me and he was like, so I had the weirdest conversation. His colleague came and was like, yeah. And she's like, our mutual friend just came up and was like, offered to take the kids. She's like, it was just great. And she's like, and she took her for a couple hours and everything. And I don't remember what her and her husband ended up doing, but like she appreciated that so much and was so relieved. But she was also so surprised that the friend had offered to do that, because, it's just not that her friend wouldn't do this. This lady is like one of the best people in the world. She would do anything for anybody. Like, she is a super nice lady. So it wasn't even the fact that it was just, something that the mother, the wife, the colleague, she didn't realize, I guess she needed, or I don't know, or that, but it meant a lot. It helped a lot. Also, another thing, again, depending on their relationship with your friend, like, go over and clean their house. Depending on what they're going through, like, they may not feel up to cleaning. They may not be in the mental mind frame to clean. But then again, they could be one of those people cleaning may help them. So again, it depends. But just go over and clean their house. Don't say, hey, can I clean your house? No, go over and like, hey, if you see dishes in the sink, I'm going to wash your dishes. Just start washing the dishes. And, tell them, if you want them to tell you where to put them away, or if you want to find it or whatever, that's fine. Or even if you just want to wash them, dry them, set them aside, and let them put them away at some point, that's okay too. Just go with the flow, read the room. My mom was definitely one of these people. Like, she got it from her mother, but independent. Like, she was very independent, didn't like people to do anything for her. So a lot of times what my dad and I did was we just let her do what she wanted to do. So if she wanted to clean, we let her clean until she was tired and couldn't do it anymore. Then we picked up the slack and finished it for her, because my mom was one of those people, she just didn't want to sit around and do nothing. And so she, even if she felt bad, she was that way. So we just kind of let her do what she could and do what she felt like it, and then picked up the slack. So that's, another thing to do as a friend. Also, to just don't treat them differently. Most importantly, that is the worst thing you can do. If you have a friend diagnosed with cancer, they're not an eggshell. You don't have to treat them. They're not fragile. You don't have to walk on eggshells around them. Don't treat them any different than you would before you found out they had cancer. I think that's a lot of times people don't want other people to know that they have cancer because they don't want the pity. Be their friend. Be their, either be their support and inspire them to continue to fight, be their laughter, be their shoulder to cry on, their soundboard, or if you need to be a friend from afar because you just can't go through that, even though it's not about you, it's about them. But I do also understand that, some things in your life, there's a doggy running outside the window. There are some things in your life that may cause trauma, or you might not have the emotional energy to do that, and that's okay. Like, you get that. But if you want to do something, I would say, one, don't completely abandon them, but two, do something like send them your favorite book. Send them a text and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm praying for you, sending healing vibes to you, whatever it is that you believe, they believe, your spirituality, your religion. Just send them a text. Just let them know. And you can do that every so often. And just don't completely abandon them, by no means. And then remember, it's about them, not you. Okay? So, also, something else you can do as a friend is, if they feel up to it, take them out somewhere to kind of get them away from everything. Get them out of their head, get them out of their mind, out of their space. Like, take them shopping if they want to go shopping. Go out and have lunch or brunch, or at a nice restaurant. If it's a beautiful day outside, go sit and enjoy the day. But be careful too, depending on what medication they're on or what chemotherapy they may be doing. If they're doing chemotherapy or radiation, that they're not in the sun too much, the heat or anything like that. So definitely be aware of surroundings with that. But yeah, take them somewhere. Go take a walk somewhere. Just get them out of the house, some fresh air, and just out of their mind, out of their head for for a little bit. So that helps a lot and goes a long way. Okay? All right. If it's your family member, all of the above. So yes, depending on how close you are with the person as a family member, I know there's family members I was really close to, more closer than others. Sometimes too, you don't live close enough. So phone calls. Make sure they're filled up talking. Nowadays, you have text. Text was just starting. Text messaging was starting whenever my mom was diagnosed. So it was starting to get big, but not a lot of, at that time, I don't know if some of you remember this, where, after so many texts, you got charged. So you can only get so many free texts a month. But yeah, even if family members, send them a text message. If you do that, call them, chat with them, give them the tea, family gossip or anything like that. Take their mind off of things. But if you can't visit them, we now have virtual. You can, video chat with them, or anything like that. So you can, anything. Just let them know that you care. You're thinking about them. And then, but just most important though is just show them in some small way that you care, because a little bit goes a long way. That you're there rooting for them, you're there supporting them. And make sure if you do anything, they feel up to it. And if they say no, don't take it personally. It's not about you, it's about them. And be honored that they said no, because that means they're setting boundaries for themselves. That's what they need right at that moment. Okay? So don't take it personally if they say no. All right? So remember, they're not going to ask for help. So you're going to have to kind of insert yourself like, hey, what do you like from KFC? What do you like from so-and-so? I'm bringing it by. Is this a good time? Or I can leave it on the front porch. Okay? So insert, but also too, Don't take it personally. All right. Now, we will get to caretakers next week. So next week we'll talk about caretakers. All right. And yeah, until then, leave any comments. If you have any suggestions on any, leave it in the comments for things that people can do, or even if somebody has done something for you that meant a lot, leave it in the comments. All right. Remember, be kind. And until next week, we'll see you under the willow tree. All right. Be safe and take care.